Hello, civilized people. The day has finally come, as tonight, at 9 p.m. Eastern, the world will get to watch as Orange Man and Hyena Woman, truly the greatest superheroes of our time, take the stage in the year's first debate between actual presidential nominees, and the first live appearance of Hyena Woman in more than 50 days. But they will not be the only ones appearing on the stage, as ABC, the host of tonight's debate, naturally have their own motivations as well. Motivations such as Dana Walden, the head of ABC, and her husband, Matt Walden, being longtime friends of Kamala Harris and her husband, which has been cited by some as a reason why this is the only network Kamala agreed to debate on. Additionally, one of the martyrs has tried to link Orange Man to the KKK, meaning we can expect a truly unbiased moderation. I'm sorry. I can't say that with a straight face. So light yourself a cigarette, preemptively rest your face against your palm, and crack open a bottle of painkillers as you prepare to be entertained and tortured by the mental gymnastics of the mainstream media as they see just how brown they can get their noses propping up their preferred candidate. As today, on the Goss and Rome podcast, we are going to be discussing our expectations for what appears to be the only real presidential debate of the 2024 presidential cycle. So, Colt, how you doing today?
I'm fantastic.
That's good to hear. Uh, you know, the last time we were talking about a debate, it was that one was with Trump and Biden, and so I guess there's been something of a shakeup in the race since then, in
You
the
could say
form of
that.
yeah. But so just to give some ground on where things are as we come into this. A couple days ago, New York Times Siena, which is a left-leaning pollster, has put Trump in the once everything's rounded, 1 point ahead of Harris. Before that rounding, it is actually a 1.9% lead for Trump in that poll, which for a Democrat at this stage of the race, it's not where they want to be. Usually, Republicans are gaining at up through September and into October, which is sort of a bad sign for the Harris campaign. Um, Coming into this, Trump's campaign staff has said that Trump is just going to be himself on the debate stage, but has said, the man's kind of a wild card and to prepare for at least some surprises. The hmm, you've seen some uncertainty among Democratic legislators regarding what their expectations are for Kamala's performance tonight. And as far as the overall view of the race right now, depending on which pollsters you believe, the swing states can go either way. Trump's starting to take the lead in nationwide polling. And for whatever reason, Alan Lichtman's name keeps popping up, the fellow who developed the keys to the White House system, though I don't give him much credibility. And he is claiming that Harris will come out on top. So that's just sort of generally where, you know, how the media is looking at these candidates right now. And internally, within the campaigns, we are aware that Trump is feeling rather confident. He is actually going to be doing some campaigning in Virginia and Minnesota and states that he doesn't really have to carry to win. And we also know that the Harris campaign is they are investing a lot of money in Virginia and Minnesota for states they should be confident that they are going to win. So that is sort of the state of affairs. But on the bright side, Colton, they are keeping the same format as they did with the CNN debate earlier this year. And, you know, I was shocked after that first debate. I thought it was going to be an absolute travesty, and it actually wound up being one of the best debates I have seen in years. Colton,
Yeah, I'm there. I'm listening.
what are you? Do you like that format? Like,
I do. I like how it puts more emphasis on what each person is saying rather than how each candidate relates to themselves, like relates to the other. If that makes any sense.
yes, and of interest in that, that was one thing that there's been a lot of stories floating around about the debate, whether it would happen or not. Harris came forward and was basically demanding that that format be changed, uh, and that she be allowed to have notes. Those two are confirmed things, and the Trump campaign basically put their foot down and said no. Now, what that tells me is two things. First off, the Kamala campaign was wanting Trump to speak more, which I don't blame them for. That makes sense.
Hmm.
They want Trump to put his foot in his mouth. Wanting notes though tells me that Kamala, I mean, we've seen her VP debate performances as well. She's not a very good debater. I don't like I'm not expecting much as far as quality that goes there. But still. So, are you ready to get into some questions, Colton? Just to, give our general expectations about, what's going to come.
Yes, sir.
All right. So, first off, if you were advising Kamala Harris ahead of this debate, what advice would you give her?
Um, I would have pre-trained her on like her talking points and to stick to them and to do the what Trump did last debate, which is every time something not favorable comes up, to pivot that into something that you have positive messaging on. And it's not a lot for her, but it would definitely keep her from her rambling ways.
Right now, the only thing she's above water on is the abortion issue.
Yeah, and that
Like she would have to keep pivoting. She would have to turn every question into abortion.
I mean, it's better than her, saying like, "Oh my gosh, the best thing about Social Security is that time passes." That would you rather that or her to pivot that towards abortion? I would.
Uh, I, I don't know. I was kind of hoping she would explain how we were going to be unburdened by what has been.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, if we were advising her campaign, right? That's not a good debate message.
Yeah. Now, I guess I'm going to go ahead and give you mine.
Okay.
If I was advising her, I would have said not to debate. I would have said not to debate.
Well, that's not a very fair answer, now, is it?
That's the honest truth. She struggles. She sucks at public speaking. She really does. She's not like Biden, where he talked about his uncle getting eaten by cannibals in freaking New Guinea or freaking corn pop. But she goes on these tangents trying to sound smarter than she is about like a lot of topics she doesn't know much about.
Yeah. Hence my, like the best thing about Social Security is that time passes. Like that's like a classic Kamala where she just she doesn't know anything about it, so she tries to explain the significance of the thing rather than the thing.
Yes, and it does not bode well. Which on that end, if I was her campaign staff, I would have said Kamala got COVID. She's out for a couple days. Because if you have a candidate and you have not put them in front of a live panel to ask questions in 50 days, you don't have confidence in that candidate to speak. Like, just full stop, you don't. There is, if you are a candidate, with very few exceptions, if you are running a campaign, you want that candidate in front of a camera as much as possible, getting their face and name and platform in front of as many people as possible. And that's the they seem to have stuck with, we're going to, keep her out of sight so far. So doing this now just seems like a huge change in direction. But that's my take going into it. So now I guess we got to ask it for this one. What would be your advice for ABC?
Run it like CNN, especially after that Siena poll. You don't you don't want to show how biased you are after a poll that just came out showing Trump plus one.
Yeah,
It's I mean, you don't want to, and I'm sure that these we can be pleasantly surprised. We were surprised last time with Dana Bash and the other guy.
we were, we were, we were surprised with how well CNN went. And my advice for ABC would be to slap some sense into your moderators, make them stay on point, ask questions, and to phrase those questions in a way that are not directly aggressive to a candidate. Otherwise, you risk your moderators getting dragged into debate, which is something that CNN did avoid. And I can't believe that I'm, saying, oh, they should follow in the footsteps of CNN, but they should. I agree with that entirely. So, next up, what would you be advising Trump ahead of this debate if you were working for the Trump team?
Um, make it less obvious that you're pivoting towards the issues that you're positive on. Like last time, how he was asked about certain things and he just like brought up like immigration out of nowhere, and he was like, "I'm just finishing my last point." It's like, as a viewer, this isn't. This is more as a viewer than as a consultant. I'm just like, come on, man, keep it moving. But I guess as a consultant, I would say, hmm, try to stick to issues because Kamala doesn't have issues. That's what I would say for Trump.
All right. On my end, my advice would be that Trump should critique Kamala so she gets the opportunity to speak in rebuttal, and always do so on an issue she is weak with. Just keep that constant, because Trump has the advantage on something like 8 of the 9 biggest issues as viewed by the electorate. So just hammer those 8. And he's actually got a solid defense on the abortion one, as he preempted any abortion debate this time around by saying, "Look, I don't want a federal ban. I wouldn't sign it if it came to my desk. I wanted it to go to the states."
Actually,
So
oh god.
he's got a decent, way of washing his hands of that one. It's the one where he's weakest. But that's but just if Kamala keeps hammering him with that, then I think that would actually, bite Kamala in the ass.
So for Trump as well, and this maybe is also for ABC, I want to kind of go back to this, is that if Trump can attack her record on things like her voting record in Senate, or the fact that she said she was the last person in the room and numerous White House staffers and aides have said that she was integral in like the leaving of Afghanistan thing, you know? Like she has inserted herself into these issues that are now looked at as really bad. And if Trump can attack those and if the moderators, allow Trump to attack those, then I think that would be a very good angle for him as well.
Yeah, I agree. So going into the debate, what do you think is Kamala's biggest weakness going into this debate in the eyes of viewers?
In the eyes of viewers,
Yes, in the
the
eyes of the
economy
voters who.
and immigration. That's easy.
No, I mean like a. I'm not talking about specific issues. I'm talking, for example,
Well, her weakness is issues. Like she,
well, her weakness is issues. I'm actually going to go out and say that I think one of her biggest weaknesses is the fact that she only put out a platform like yesterday or the day before
well, that's
related
not
to
for
anything.
viewers. That's for her because she only had 2 days
I,
to, you know.
I, well, the reason I cite that is because recent polling has indicated better than 30% of the country have no idea what Kamala's stances are on anything. Like they are not aware of her stances on various issues other than abortion.
And even then, I
It's a
don't think
big
she
number.
wants people to look at her issues page because they're all very, very progressive.
Well, yes, her issues are very progressive. They are quite far to the left. She would certainly be the most left-leaning politician, well, not politician, but president in American history. But still, it's something where I think that it is her biggest weakness because nobody knows it, and anybody, and just given that there seems to be a distaste with stances that far to the left, that coming into this, she kind of has to mask what her stances are if she wants to, start gaining traction with independents. Because Trump, in the last month, has picked up 14 points with independents and bounced right back up. He's leading Kamala by, I think, 6 points amongst independents now. But moving along, what do you think ABC's biggest weakness with this debate is?
Their own biases.
Perceived biases. I believe that they could actually, in something like this, I believe you can do meaningful harm to your brand by showcasing your biases in the middle of a presidential debate. And it is not a joke to say that one of the moderators has actually tried to link Trump to the KKK. Although the other one, Muir, Muir, that's his last name, Muir. Anyway, he is one of the, Trump and he apparently have a pretty good rapport. So it's not all bad. It's not quite as biased of a background to the moderators as you had at CNN. And what do you think Trump's biggest weakness is going into this debate?
Hmm. Maybe this is just overall strategy, but I really don't think Trump is like he has a pretty neutral hand here, and it's mostly up to Kamala to win or lose herself. And even if she wins, she doesn't really win. She just slows Trump's momentum. So like I don't he's not really coming into this with a low hand unless you can see something I'm not.
Uh, the only thing that I really see is that he has to, no matter what happens, make no mistake, MSNBC, CNN, ABC, people over on PBS, there is going to be a lot of people claiming no matter what, Trump lost this debate because that always happens. The only time they've ever indicated that Trump, you know, gained any ground was whenever was during the Biden last debate where, he couldn't put together a coherent sentence. But I think Trump's biggest weakness is frequently that he talks too much. But I think that is no longer an issue given the format of the debate. I think that sorts that out a bit. So, what do you think Kamala's goal needs to be in the debate tonight?
To not Joe Biden herself.
Uh, Elaborate a bit.
Don't be so bad that your party would prefer you to not be running. that it she I don't know what she can win here. Trump is like you said, Trump is up with moderates by like 6 points. It's it's like you said, I if I were advising her, I would prefer her to not be there.
Yeah,
It's only a risk.
it is very much only a risk for Kamal. I do agree with that. I'm going to put out something. I'm going to put one goal in here that I think that could actually help her, and I think that that would be having the equivalent of a girl boss moment, because she's not performing as well as she needs to among suburban women, and that might help her there. But something like, I don't know, if Trump interrupts her and she says something along the lines of, "Excuse me, I'm talking," or something like that.
Bringing back the old classic.
Yeah, I know. But that's the kind of thing the suburban white women tend to like for whatever reason. I don't know. I'm not a suburban white woman. I don't claim to be. But anyway, that's something they tend to like. So if she can get that, that might help her. But I think that is the only real net positive she picks up from this. I think that is her primary goal.
Pathetic.
I know. Uh, I we didn't admittedly we didn't have great expectations of the last debate, but it wound up being much more significant than we realized going into it. We didn't realize how honestly the last one we didn't realize how bad Joe Biden was going to.
I mean, we made
So
jokes about it. We just didn't assume that it would happen.
yeah, we we made a lot of jokes about it. But we were not expecting that. It is entirely possible that just because she is not a good public speaker, Kamala comes out and does the same thing. I'm just saying. So moving right along, what do you think ABC's goals need to be for the night?
I mean, just to be neutral, like I a lot of the criticisms I saw from the last debate with Biden was that there wasn't enough active fact checking, like the moderators weren't going like, "Oh, you told a lie," or "That's not true." Um I don't really think that's necessary. So,
I
just
don't think that's necessary either. Just because fact checkers are bought and paid for,
yeah, so
they
I
tell somebody's truth. Uh, you could tell a white lie on either side that's it's not true, but it's something you can say in casual conversation that makes sense. And if one side does it, you'll say mostly true, and if the other side does it, they'll say biggest lie of the century. Their fact checkers are biased. Don't
so yeah, that's
fact checkers lie just as much as anyone.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like that's just don't be, that biased. Like we all realize that like Kamala's gonna get a couple softballs.
We know that.
So
Get, we've made peace with that. Uh, on my end, I think that the key is that it's not so much that they can't show some bias, because I think that's what their audience actually wants. I hate to say it, but I think the key is not to get dragged into having to be an active participant in the debate.
that's a good one.
Um, to make to not come off as an aggressor in the debate. Now, how about for Trump? What do you think Trump's goals going into this should be?
Just play it cool, calm, collected. Don't make himself look it like an idiot.
All right,
You know,
elaborate.
well, don't let the moderators get under his skin if they decide to be biased. Don't let Kamala have her girl boss moment. Like control himself.
Yeah. So on my end, calm and collected is good. My if if I was advising Trump, I would say his goal needs to be to throw it back to Kamala every opportunity he gets. Between the two of them, he is the better public speaker. And letting Kamala dig her own grave is much easier than him debating Kamala. So Trump needs to just throw time back to Kamala constantly. That's my take. All right. And let's go with best case scenario. What do you think the best case scenario for Harris is with this debate?
She doesn't make herself look like a complete idiot. She stays on topic, doesn't do anything crazy, and she maybe gets like 1 or 2 points back with moderates. I think that's her best case scenario.
So doesn't look an idiot and appears moderate.
Yeah.
Right. On my end, I am going to say best case scenario, and I'm going to say her goal and her best case scenario are the same thing. She has to have that girl boss moment. I think that's the only thing that is really going to give her any kind of bump. And I don't know if it'll have an impact on the election overall, the outcome, just given trajectories. But I think it could have an impact. If anything's going to have an impact that benefits her, that will be it. So I do think her best case scenario is also just her goal. Now for ABC, what do you think their best case scenario is for the night?
Um, I'm gonna be honest. I don't know. Besides just saying, their best case scenario is that they have a high viewership.
Uh, well, I mean, high viewership for a single day is one thing. Trying to grow it is another. Uh, if if while what's her name, Lindsay Davis is the moderator who tried to tie Trump to the KKK. Uh, where the other moderator has been a bit more moderate. I think it is act. I think if they play their cards right, they could actually, garner some viewership for him. I think their best case scenario is to try and push him somewhat to drive up viewership because ABC owned by Disney, Disney not having the best time right now. ABC is likely going to be sold at some point if the rumors are to be believed. So trying to increase the value of one of the people that comes in that package and increase your viewership could be a great asset for ABC's masters over at Disney. So I think that is their best case scenario. And lastly, Trump. What do you think is the best possible outcome for Trump in this debate?
The best possible outcome.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna weave a grand fairy tale then. The sky's the limit, right? She does so horribly, and she poops herself, and she's obsessed about what could have been and being unburdened by it, and and he just wins the election, like right then and there. That's the best case scenario.
I actually am inclined to agree. I think that if Trump Harris has has a very hard time acting normal. The fact that they had to reshoot videos of her, buying Doritos to make her seem normal says a lot. So I think that if Trump is able to just keep throwing time back at her, she will eventually, you know, just sort of implode just based on, her performances in the past. Even the interview she did where she was with Walls and it was pre-recorded and they edited it and all that stuff. That was not very good. That didn't really win her many points. So I think that if Trump can basically, keep pitching back to her and force her to address her stances on things, it could cause her to collapse. Uh, I mean, it is very possible that if Trump does that, you could see the electorate largely come to walk away disliking Kamala Harris very much. So that's kind of what we're looking at. So I think Trump's best case scenario is that he essentially turns any moderates. He lets Kamala turn off any moderates that were willing to vote for her. That I believe is Trump's best case scenario. But it's something he sets her up to do rather than he does himself.
Hmm.
So I believe that is it. So I guess we're going to go and have a drink and watch a debate. So to you poor bastards still listening, we will be putting out another video immediately after the debate, after we've had time to get a few drinks in ourselves and see what kind of crazy yarns the media is weaving. And so be on the lookout for a part two later this evening or tomorrow morning, depending on what time zone you're in. So thank you all very much. And please like and subscribe. And we look forward to hopefully hearing your feedback on this and on our takeaways in the second part of this video. Thank you very much, everybody.
Have a good one.